Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students of class 7th. Hope all of you are fine. Students, in previous lecture we have studied about the periodic table and the elements on the left side of the periodic table, that is are metals. These metals have the tendency to lose the electrons, and on the right side the non-metals have the tendency to gain this electron. So when the metals lost the electron, they become positively charged ion or cation, and when the non-metals accept the atom, they becomes a negatively charged ion or anion. The property of the elements of the group 8, we have studied that these neither lost electron nor accept electron. These are the unreactive or inert elements in the periodic table. Today we will study that when these elements are combined during a chemical reaction, they show the same behavior, that is to lose electron or gain electron to form a cation or anion. But there is a question that why the element or atoms behave like this in the chemical reaction. The answer is that the elements want to attain a stable configuration, that is if it is the first shell, then the elements want to have maximum 2 number of electrons. If it is the second shell, then elements want to have maximum number of 8 electrons. Now in the third shell there are maximum number of 18 electrons, or you can say in order to satisfy minimum number of 8 electrons, which is called as the octet, that is 8 number of electrons. Now if we see the atom of sodium has only 1 electron in the third shell, so it will lose this electron, and as a result it will have the outermost shell, that is the second shell, which are having 8 number of electrons, and in this state sodium will be stable. In the third shell having 1 electron and with the other electron not present, the sodium was not stable. Now when it lost the electrons and become a cation, it becomes a stable. Similarly, chlorine, which is the element of the group 7, it is having 7 number of electrons in its third shell, and it wants to attain a stable configuration, for which it needs only 1 electron to complete its octet. So it will accept this electron which is lost by the sodium, and over here we can see that it has accepted during a chemical reaction and form a chloride or negative ion or anion. In this stage it is chlorine atom, now it is chloride ion. In this state it is sodium atom, now it is a sodium ion. So during a chemical reaction, when these oppositely charged ions, one of the atom loses electrons and the other gain electrons, they form a bond with each other, which is called as the ionic bond, and this compound which is formed as a result of this ionic bonding is called as ionic compound. Ionic compound is held together with the electrostatic force between them, that is between the positive charge ion, the force between the positive charge ion and the force between the negative charge ion. Now we see that the properties of these elements also change when these combine in the ionic compound. Sodium, before the reaction it was grey metal and chlorine was a poisonous smelly gas, but when they are combined during a chemical reaction, they react with one another vigorously, that is very fastly, and gain and so chlorine gain 1 electron and sodium lost 1 electron, and the ionic compound which is formed is a crystalline, white crystalline sodium chloride, which is called as common salt. Magnesium, similarly, when combines with magnesium oxide, magnesium is a metal, it will lose electron, and oxygen is a non-metal, it will gain these electrons. Magnesium is a solid, grey solid, and oxygen is a colorless gas. When magnesium is combined with oxygen, so during a chemical reaction, it will lose 2 of electrons which are gained. These 2 electrons will be lost which are present in the third shell. In the third shell, magnesium needs 6 more electrons to complete it. So instead of gaining 6 electrons, it has a tendency to lose these 2 electrons, and these 2 electrons are gained by the oxygen atom. And now we see that both the atoms in the ionic form has now attained the stable configuration. How these are stable? That is, the magnesium has the outermost shell having the 8 number of electron which is complete, and oxygen, by gaining these 2 electrons from the magnesium atom, attains the stable electronic configuration. That is, the second shell it have 8 number of electrons now. As it has lost 2 electrons, so it has 2 positive charge, and oxygen has gained 2 electron, it has 2 negative charge. Student, hope so it will be very much clear to your minds. Please write it down in your neat books and memorize this topic. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.